Hi guys, today I am coming to you from my room. I'm just gonna have a little chat and answer some questions that I get all the time. Like, how did I get into pattern making? When did I start my business? What courses did I take? What courses should you take if you are looking to get into pattern making? And a bunch of other things. I'm just gonna free flow and go with it. I know you guys all know me. My name's Kara. I own Small Museum. I am a designer. I design patterns. I design clothes. And I'm an all-around artist. You know the vibration. I also have my puppy right here. Yeah, you can see her little nose. So if I'm petting her, that is why. But I first wanted to just get into how I started my pattern making journey and what courses I took. So the year was 2022 maybe. I started my made to order upcycling business and times were really good. I don't know if you guys remember, but the government was giving out checks every month to a lot of people who were unemployed. Everyone had a lot of money to spend and they were spending it on art and times were good. However, that petered out, and as people had less money, there's also a lot more competition in the space. The market became saturated, which is just a totally normal thing that happens. If something works and something's good, people are gonna copy paste, and that's okay. So I just felt the competition, the marketplace. It just wasn't working like it had been, and I just felt really overwhelmed as a single mom business owner, who relies on this to be able to be there for my son. I just was feeling so stressed. I also made the Tate romper. I was selling them. It wasn't like a huge #1 hit when I started selling it, but as I kept making more and kept making more, people really started to love it. But they didn't want to buy it because people didn't really have money to spend at that time, and that's okay. But they started asking, can you do the pattern? Can you make a pattern? Can you sell a pattern? I had no idea what pattern making was. I never used patterns. I've never sewn from a pattern, maybe one time, the Persephone pants, but I wasn't like an avid sewist. I would just mess around, find out, and draft my own patterns from like vintage clothes and clothes I already had, and that's how I would go about making patterns. I would just make my own, and it worked for me. I had seen Jess, Jessie Lou's Closet. I had kind of seen her pop up in my algorithm a few times. I saw that she released a skirt pattern, and randomly I just decided, someone just commented, please give us this pattern. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to. One thing about being a business owner and leaning in to listen to inspiration is really listening when people are telling you what they want. That may sound so obvious, but when I was upcycling and I was in this upcycling community, people would ask my colleagues, other business owners, please, can we have this pattern? And they would get on their Instagram and say, I'll never sell my patterns. This is my art. Why would you ask me? And they would be so rude. Instead of just saying no, not right now, or I don't do that, they would be super rude about it, which I was like, whatever, to each their own. But I would always just say, not right now. I don't know how to do that. Maybe one day. And so I decided to just listen. Not everyone was making patterns in the sewing community. Not everybody was taking that path. I had no money. I would cry at the end of every month. I was struggling so hard to just stay afloat in my business. And I just said, I'm going to take a risk. I'm going to take a risk here, and I'm going to work with Jess. And if this doesn't work out for me, I'm not going to sew anymore. I'm going to, go to cosmetology school or go to nursing school or something else that's has more stability for me, because I can't live another year crying over money. It's just not good for my son. It's not good for me. However, it did work out. Part of that success that I need everybody to understand is that I put in, what year was that? Let's say it's 2022 maybe. I started my sewing business in 2014. So I'd put in 7 years of, I put in 6 years of having a kids clothing line that was not successful. It wasn't unsuccessful, but it definitely didn't like pay for my life, because I loved it. And I put in so much time. I learned, I failed, I started over, I got back up over and over and over and over again. So the success of the Tate Romper was not an overnight fluke. It wasn't just like I hit it lucky. Like, I attribute all of the years that I put in before that to the Tate Romper working out for me. And it did. It changed my life. I was at peace with never having a sewing business again when I took that risk to sell my pattern. I didn't know people would buy it, but I thought, what's one last chance? And it worked out for me. Then Jess and I did another collaboration, which was the dolly dress. So at this time, I still didn't know how to make patterns, sewing patterns. I did the instructions, but I didn't know how to digitize them or grade them. But I decided after the dolly dress, I needed to learn myself. Jess was doing a ton of collaborations, so I couldn't really work with her anymore. And, it was hard to like wait. I had lots of ideas. And that's when I took confident pattern making and grading. I love this course. From like the point of view that I am a self-taught seamstress, this just opened my eyes to measurements and like designing with intentional ease. Like, how much room do I actually want? Understanding darts, understanding the placement of darts, understanding pattern making, I guess from a more like structural, intentional point of view, rather than tracing on paper and, revising to get the fit, which works great. And now I still love to do that. I love to take the way I did it before and using the things I learned from confident pattern making and making this whole new system for myself in design. So, confident pattern making and grading. What did I learn? How was it? Do I think it's worth it? Yes, I think it's worth it. For me, it, changed my life in a way that I can have a successful business for myself. But like I said before, I just think that this was a culmination of like almost 8 years of working on my business beforehand, learning marketing, learning the internet, editing photos, selling to people, cultivating a community, having an eye for design, dealing with people who are mean on the internet, all the things like paying taxes, having income, and dealing with customers, and the 9 million things that I learned the hard way. I think that I feel like I paid my dues, if that makes sense. And so if you are really wanting to take confident pattern making and grading, I think you should do it. If you have a different point of view, like let's say you have nice, beautiful, voluptuous these and a tiny waist and a nice thick whatever, that's something that I don't have. My tits are flat, I'm really square, so my designs cater to that body type because that's my body type. If you have a unique body type, I think, it's incredible to be able to design for yourself and to design for others that will also have that same body experience and will love your patterns. But you need to go into it and think of it as a real college course and understand that you are not going to be able to quit your job and become a pattern maker off the first hurrah. Now, today, the saturation is so incredible in the market that it is much harder. Like, I have never had the success since the Tate Romper, just because I think so many, there are so many indie pattern makers out there. And you know what? That's okay. That's totally okay with me. Does it mean it doesn't work? No, you can absolutely make money. You just need to understand that the people who are really successful with confident pattern making and grading are the people that have had businesses established. They have a nice big following. They have community already. So that marketing aspect of pattern making is taken care of. And even today for me, it's like, I would love to have the sales that I had from the Tate Romper again, but I don't know if that's ever gonna happen for me. And that's okay, because Instagram is free, the marketing is free, and I've just realized about every 2 years in owning my own business, like, I need to pivot and be innovative. And I personally love the challenge. That's why I'm an entrepreneur. I love the stress. So I just want to be honest that, you know, it is $2,000, $3,000, and I think the price is going up. I just want to be really honest with you and say this is not, it is an investment. It is an investment into your education. And there's not only one way to use an education to make money, because, you know, I'm thinking now, what if I can help other people grade their patterns? Because now I have that knowledge. Maybe I don't have to actually produce patterns every day. I can help other people. That's another way that I can make money. I can use this education that I paid for in different avenues, right? Like, I'm already thinking of it, and so can you. Like, and also it helped me become a better designer. It helped me understand my own measurements, like the arm side, you know, just a fuller understanding of sewing and designing that I needed. I want to be the best at my craft, and I want to say in 20 years, like, you know, I gave it my all every day and I'm better. So I loved the course. Like, I love knowing how to grade. I love knowing how to pattern make. Learning Illustrator is so bomb. There are, like, I recommend it. I understand that it's a lot of money. So if you don't have the money, you're thinking, I'm going to spend this $3,000 and make this $3,000 back right away. No, I don't. It's not guaranteed. Like, you might get lucky and your pattern might speak to the masses, but it's just something I want to be honest about. And, like, you need to think about it. Like, when you graduate school with a degree, you don't just leave school and make the highest amount of money you're ever going to make from that degree. It takes time, it takes connections, it takes moving up in your field, and this is no different. However, this course costs way less than traditional college, so I think that's worth it. I also know a lot of pattern makers who, you know, are self-taught pattern makers. My homegirl Sadie at Spaghetti Western Sewing, who I love her patterns. I know that she learned, like, via YouTube and online how to digitally upload her designs onto Illustrator, and then she outsources her grading, and then she does all the instructions and and she taught herself. It is not impossible. I taught myself everything minus confident pattern making and grading, and Jessie Lou's course, which I will talk about in a moment. But yeah, it's just something to consider and think about. Remember that everything in life is a business. This is a business for me. these courses are these people's businesses, and like you need to just understand that, you know, sometimes someone's business works and aligns with your goals perfectly, and that's bomb. But if you are on the edge and have $0 and you have 200 followers, it's probably not the best investment if it's gonna be hard to make that payment. So just in an honest way. So I learned it. I've been being able to make patterns myself. I get asked all the time about pattern to market, Jess's course. Now, I have never personally taken pattern to market. I paid Jess up front twice. I think it was $1,500 two times for her to help me, you know, grade my pattern and help me with the instructions, like the graphs, the charts, all this stuff, and make the tile template, the print at home tile template, the large formatting template, and the projector template. And what her course teaches is like, you know, if I was wanting to release a pattern and I wanted to make like maybe a bag, something that didn't need to be graded per se, I would take her course first. You need to learn you need to know how to do a tile template and make all those files for a pattern release. I wish that those courses were like together, because it is like just a lot of money. But I don't, again, it's not that it's not worth it. It just is like, I understand in these times that are hard that, you know, it's hard to spend, you know, I think Jess's is $1,500 to $2,000 and that one's $2,000 to $3,000. That's a lot of money. But you know, if you have the money, take them both. Take them both. If you can afford it, if you can put that shit on credit cards and pay it off, like as an investment to yourself, and you want to have a pattern business, take them both. Jess's teaches you like all the, I would say Victoria's course, Confident Pattern Making, is how to draft, how to use Illustrator, how to grade the patterns, how to make a block for yourself, all the like integral structural parts of pattern making. And then Jess's course is like instructions, templates for the instructions, tile template, large format, all these things that you also need to know to, you know, release a pattern into the world, how to run a testing group, how to test. That's another aspect of pattern making. Like you have to test the pattern. So that's all information that, you know, is very vital. But I, you know, again, didn't take the course. I just worked with Jess personally. So I kind of learned from doing it with her. So those are the courses that I took. I loved, well, I didn't take that one, but I loved Confident Pattern Making and Grading. And of course, I loved working with Jess both times. She taught me so much. And I obviously could not be where I am without both these ladies, Victoria and Jess. But if you guys have any questions or like more specific details that you guys want me to get into about any of the courses, about my business, let me know, because I'm happy to share. Okay, I hope you guys have a great day, and I will talk to you soon. Okay.